But here's what most men over 50 don't realize. If you're waking up tired, foggy, and disconnected from your desire, it's not just age. It's your body quietly falling out of rhythm at night. I've spent decades listening to men who sleep for hours yet wake up exhausted, unmotivated, and frustrated by weaker erections. They assume this is just how life is after 50. But the truth is, the strongest erections, deepest sleep, and real energy don't start during the day. They start at night. And one overlooked vitamin taken at the right time can change everything. Most men over 50 believe erections, energy, and sleep are things that happen randomly, or worse, that they slowly disappear with age. But that belief is the first mistake. The truth is, everything that makes a man feel strong, alert, and sexually responsive is rebuilt while he sleeps. Not during workouts, not through willpower, not through stimulants. It happens at night, quietly, when the body enters its deepest repair state. When you were younger, this process happened automatically. As you drifted into deep sleep, especially during REM cycles, your brain sent powerful signals to the rest of your body. Testosterone was released in rhythmic pulses. Blood vessels relaxed and widened. Nitric oxide flowed freely, allowing oxygen-rich blood to reach sensitive tissues, including the penis. This is why healthy men wake up with morning erections. It's not about sex. It's a sign that the system worked overnight. After 50, something subtle but important changes. Sleep becomes lighter. REM cycles shorten. The body spends less time in the deep phases where repair actually happens. A man may sleep 7 or 8 hours and still wake up exhausted because his body never entered the stages where hormones and blood flow are restored. The night passed, but the repair never occurred. This is where many men get confused. They assume the problem is testosterone alone, or circulation, or stress. In reality, those are downstream effects. The real issue is that the nighttime reset no longer completes itself. Testosterone isn't released at the right time. Blood vessels don't fully relax. Erectile tissue doesn't receive the oxygen it needs to stay elastic and responsive. Over time, erections become weaker, less predictable, or disappear altogether, especially in the morning. Energy follows the same pattern. Testosterone isn't just about desire, it's a master signal for motivation, muscle tone, mental clarity, and emotional drive. When nighttime production drops, men wake up feeling flat. They describe it as fog, heaviness, or a dimmer switch being turned down on life. Coffee may help for an hour, but the underlying depletion remains. Deep sleep is also when the nervous system resets. Stress hormones like cortisol are supposed to fall at night, allowing the body to shift into recovery. But when sleep is shallow or fragmented, cortisol stays elevated. The body remains in a low-grade alert state, never fully relaxing. This blocks testosterone, restricts blood flow, and keeps the brain from entering restorative sleep. It becomes a cycle that feeds itself. Many men blame themselves for this. They think they've lost discipline, masculinity, or desire. They stop talking about it. They pull away from intimacy. What they don't realize is that their body is not broken. It's simply out of rhythm. The signals that once turned on strength and desire at night are no longer firing correctly. Think of sleep like a nightly maintenance window. When everything is aligned, repairs happen automatically. Hormones are replenished, blood vessels are cleaned and relaxed, tissues are refreshed. But when the window is interrupted or shortened, the work doesn't get done. The body wakes up unfinished and carries that deficit into the next day. This is why fixing daytime habits alone rarely solves the problem. You can eat well, exercise, and avoid junk, yet still feel drained and disconnected if nighttime repair is compromised. The solution isn't forcing the body harder during the day. It's restoring what happens at night. Once you understand that erections, energy, and vitality are rebuilt while you sleep, everything changes. The focus shifts from fighting decline to supporting recovery. And when the night is repaired, the day begins to feel different again. Most men over 50 don't realize that the real problem isn't how long they sleep, but how deeply they sleep. They'll tell you they go to bed on time, stay in bed for 7 or 8 hours, and still wake up exhausted. They assume this means their body is failing them. In reality, it means the most important stages of sleep are quietly breaking down, and with them, the hormones and signals that keep a man energized and sexually responsive. As men age, sleep architecture changes. Deep sleep and REM sleep become shorter and more fragile. These are not optional phases. They are the stages where the brain and body communicate most clearly. During deep sleep, the pituitary gland signals the testes to release testosterone. During REM sleep, blood flow patterns are restored, memories are processed, and the nervous system resets. When these stages are cut short, the entire system suffers. What makes this so dangerous is how invisible it is. A man can be unconscious all night and still never enter the depths where repair happens. Stress is a major culprit. Worries about work, finances, health, or family keep the nervous system slightly activated, even during sleep. The body stays on guard instead of letting go. Cortisol, the stress hormone, remains elevated, and cortisol directly suppresses testosterone production. Medications play a role too. Many common prescriptions after 50 for blood pressure, cholesterol, reflux, or mood interfere with sleep cycles. They may help one problem while quietly disrupting another. Light exposure is another overlooked factor. Screens, artificial lighting, and late-night stimulation suppress melatonin, the hormone that signals the brain to enter deep sleep. Without enough melatonin, the body never fully transitions into repair mode. Inflammation also increases with age. Low-grade chronic inflammation stiffens blood vessels and interferes with hormone signaling. It makes sleep lighter and more fragmented. A man may wake up several times a night without remembering it, yet each interruption steals minutes from deep sleep. Over weeks and months, that lost repair time adds up. The result is a breakdown of the sleep hormone connection. Testosterone pulses weaken or disappear. Nitric oxide production drops, reducing blood flow. Erections become unreliable because the chemical signals that open blood vessels aren't firing properly. Energy fades because the body isn't rebuilding muscle, nerves, and brain chemistry at night. Emotionally, men describe feeling flat, disconnected, or less driven, even if their life circumstances haven't changed. This is where the confusion deepens. Many men get blood tests and are told their testosterone is normal or borderline. What isn't measured is timing. Testosterone is supposed to rise at night. If that surge doesn't happen, daytime levels may look acceptable on paper while the body still feels depleted. The rhythm is broken, not just the number. Over time, this creates a vicious cycle. Poor sleep lowers testosterone. Lower testosterone worsens sleep. Reduced blood flow makes erections weaker, which increases anxiety. Anxiety raises stress hormones, further disrupting sleep. The man feels trapped in a slow decline and often believes it's irreversible. What's heartbreaking is how many men internalize this as personal failure. They stop initiating intimacy. They lose confidence. They feel older than they are. But none of this is because their bodies suddenly stopped working. It's because the signals that once coordinated sleep, hormones, and blood flow are no longer aligned. Understanding this changes everything. It reframes the problem from aging to misalignment. The body still knows how to produce energy, desire, and strong erections. It just needs the right conditions at night to do so. Once those conditions are restored, the system can begin to wake back up. Most men over 50 assume that if something is wrong with their energy, sleep, or erections, the cause must be testosterone itself. So they chase boosters, pills, and quick fixes, hoping something will force the body to respond. What almost no one explains is that hormones don't work in isolation. They depend on signals. And there is one overlooked vitamin that quietly controls whether those signals ever reach their destination: This vitamin doesn't behave like a typical supplement. In the male body, it acts more like a hormone. It binds to receptors in the brain, the blood vessels, the testes, and even inside the tissue of the penis itself. When levels are healthy, it helps coordinate three systems that must work together at night: sleep depth, testosterone production, and blood flow. When it's low, that coordination breaks down, no matter how healthy a man tries to be. One of its most important roles is supporting testosterone signaling. Testosterone is not simply produced on demand. The testes need a biochemical green light to release it, especially during sleep. This vitamin helps activate the cells responsible for testosterone production, allowing nighttime pulses to occur. When levels fall too low, those cells become sluggish. Testosterone output declines quietly, often without dramatic changes on lab tests, but with very real effects in the body. Blood flow is the second system it controls. Erections depend on nitric oxide, a molecule that tells blood vessels to relax and open. Without enough nitric oxide, blood cannot rush into the erectile tissue and stay there. This vitamin activates the enzyme that produces nitric oxide. When it's deficient, that enzyme barely works. Blood vessels stiffen, circulation slows, erections weaken. No amount of desire or effort can override that chemistry. Sleep is the third piece of the puzzle. Deep, restorative sleep depends on melatonin and a calm nervous system. This vitamin supports melatonin production and helps reduce inflammation that keeps the body in a low-grade state of alert. Without it, sleep becomes lighter and more fragmented. The man may fall asleep easily, but he doesn't stay in the stages where repair happens. And without deep sleep, testosterone and blood flow never fully recover. What makes this deficiency so common after 50 is how quietly it develops. As men age, their skin becomes less efficient at producing this vitamin from sunlight. Gut absorption declines, especially in men taking medications for reflux, blood pressure, cholesterol, or blood sugar. Chronic inflammation, which increases with age, uses up this vitamin faster than the body can replace it. Even men who eat well, exercise, and take multivitamins often fall short without realizing it. The consequences show up in deeply personal ways. A man wakes up tired despite a full night in bed. His motivation fades. His mood feels flatter. Erections become unpredictable or disappear altogether, especially in the morning. He assumes this is just what getting older feels like. But biologically, it's not aging. It's a missing signal. This is why so many men feel frustrated when they do everything right and still don't feel better. They add supplements, clean up their diet, and push themselves harder, yet nothing changes. The foundation is missing. Without this vitamin, the body cannot connect sleep, hormones, and circulation into a working system. The hopeful part is that this is not permanent damage. It's a deficiency. And deficiencies can be corrected. When this vitamin is restored to healthy levels, the body often begins to respond in a way that feels almost familiar. Sleep deepens, energy steadies, morning erections return. Not because something artificial was forced, but because the system finally has the signal it needs to turn back on. Understanding this is a turning point. It shifts the focus from chasing symptoms to restoring coordination. And once that coordination returns, the body often remembers exactly how to function again. Most men who discover this vitamin make the same mistake. They take it in the morning, usually with breakfast, alongside coffee and other supplements, and then wonder why nothing changes. Sleep stays shallow. Energy doesn't return. Erections remain unreliable. They assume the vitamin doesn't work for them. In reality, the problem isn't the vitamin. It's the timing. The male body runs on rhythms. Hormones are not produced evenly throughout the day. They rise and fall in waves that are tightly linked to light, darkness, and sleep. Nighttime is not just rest. It is the body's primary repair window. This is when the nervous system slows down, inflammation drops, and the most important rebuilding signals turn on. If a nutrient arrives outside that window, its impact is dramatically reduced. As evening approaches, melatonin begins to rise. This hormone tells the brain that it's safe to let go, to shift from alertness into recovery. Shortly after, growth hormone is released, repairing muscles, nerves, and blood vessels. Then, during deep sleep and REM cycles, testosterone is produced in pulses. These pulses are not random. They are timed, they are coordinated, and they are fragile. When this vitamin is taken at night, it enters the bloodstream just as those signals are beginning. It supports melatonin, so sleep deepens instead of fragmenting. It reduces inflammation that keeps the nervous system on edge. It helps activate the cells responsible for testosterone production exactly when they are meant to work. And it enhances nitric oxide release when blood vessels are naturally primed to relax. Timing turns it from a passive supplement into an active participant in repair. Taken in the morning, the opposite happens. Cortisol is high. The body is in alert mode. Hormonal repair systems are largely offline. The vitamin circulates, but it has nowhere meaningful to plug in. It may support general health over time, but it does little for sleep depth, nighttime testosterone, or erectile recovery. This is why so many men say they've tried it with no results. Think of it like this. Nighttime is when the internal repair crew clocks in. Hormones, blood vessels, and tissues all show up to do their work. If the right materials arrive during that shift, repairs get done. If they arrive hours earlier, they sit unused. The work still doesn't happen. This timing effect is especially important for erectile tissue. The spongy chambers inside the penis rely on nighttime blood flow to stay elastic and responsive. During deep sleep, oxygen-rich blood flows into these tissues, preventing stiffness and loss of function. This is why nighttime and morning erections exist. They are a form of maintenance. When sleep is shallow, that maintenance never fully occurs. Over time, the tissue loses its ability to trap blood. Taking this vitamin at night enhances that process. It helps blood vessels relax when they are meant to relax. It supports nitric oxide production during the hours when circulation is naturally redirected to repair. This can gradually restore the physical health of erectile tissue, not just the momentary response. There is also a powerful effect on the nervous system. Many men over 50 live in a constant state of low-grade stress. Even when they sleep, their bodies remain tense. This suppresses melatonin and blocks deep sleep. This vitamin has a calming influence on that system, helping the body feel safe enough to fully shut down. When taken at night, that calming effect aligns perfectly with the brain's natural shift toward rest. Men who change nothing except timing often notice subtle changes first. They fall asleep more easily. They wake up less during the night. Mornings feel clearer. Then energy begins to return. And eventually, something deeply personal happens. Erections feel more natural again, less forced, less anxious. Not overnight, but steadily. This is why timing changes everything. The body already knows how to heal. It just needs support at the moment it's designed to do the work. When this vitamin is taken at night, it meets the body where recovery actually happens. And that alignment is what allows real change to begin. Once men understand the importance of timing, the next question is always the same. How much should I take, and does the form really matter? This is where many well-intentioned efforts quietly fail. The body doesn't respond to guesses. It responds to precision. When it comes to restoring sleep, hormones, and blood flow, the right form, the right amount, and the right rhythm make all the difference. Not all forms of this vitamin behave the same way in the body. Some are designed more for shelf life than absorption. Others require extra steps in the liver and kidneys before they become biologically active. For men over 50, those conversion steps are often slower. When the body can't efficiently convert what you take into the active signal it needs, the effect is weak or inconsistent. That's why some men take this vitamin for months and feel nothing, while others notice changes within weeks. The difference isn't effort, it's bioavailability. Dosage matters just as much. Too little, and the body never receives a strong enough signal to change anything. Too much, and the body can actually downregulate absorption as a protective response. More is not better. The goal is to restore levels into a healthy, functional range where the body recognizes the signal and responds naturally. For most men over 50, that range is very achievable, but it must be consistent. Sporadic use leads to sporadic results. Consistency is what allows the system to reset. Sleep deepens first. The nervous system begins to calm. Hormonal rhythms start to stabilize. Then energy returns, followed by improvements in sexual response. This progression is important. Many men look for immediate changes in erections and get discouraged if that's not the first thing they notice. In reality, the body rebuilds in layers. Sleep comes before strength. Strength comes before performance. There are also men who should proceed carefully. If you have kidney issues, high calcium levels, or are on certain medications, this vitamin should be monitored by a physician. This isn't about fear. It's about respect for something that genuinely influences the body's regulatory systems. When used wisely, it supports balance. When ignored or misused, it may not deliver the results you're hoping for. What's most powerful about this approach is how it feels. Changes don't arrive as a jolt. They arrive as a return. Mornings feel steadier. Energy lasts longer through the day. Desire feels more natural, less forced. Erections begin to respond without anxiety. Men often describe it as feeling like themselves again, not younger, just aligned. This isn't about chasing youth or shortcuts. It's about restoring rhythm. When the body receives the right signal, in the right form, at the right time, it does what it was always designed to do. And that is when real, lasting change takes root.